As the Daily Wire has some business troubles, if you want to put it generously, Ben Shapiro has a message for his detractors. All the haters can kiss my ass. At least that was one of his latest posts and the topic and theme of one of his latest streams. Before we get to the details, Cenk, your 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing his insults towards the rest of the right wing, but especially Megyn Kelly. That caught my attention. He does his usual spiel of everyone's an anti-Semite, but you have to hate the Muslims. Okay, so we'll get to that as well. But why are they losing so much audience? That's really the key. And what is the future of the Republican Party? He discusses this in this video, and then Anna and I will discuss what we think is the future of the Republican Party, given the numbers and the phenomenon that we're seeing.
Yeah, where young conservatives' hearts and minds are at. So let's just begin with this really well done piece by Ross Barkan over at New York Magazine. So the piece kind of delves into why the Daily Wire is now struggling as a business, and he gives a number of different reasons. He writes that the Daily Wire is instituting significant layoffs. Its website has emerged as one of the great traffic losers in conservative media. Meanwhile, the company has seen its subscriber base on YouTube starting to shrink, and that's all very true. In fact, let's take a quick look at this graph by the Social Blade, and it shows you that despite a small bump in viewership in October of 2025, Daily Wire subscriber numbers have all but plateaued. In fact, they've gone down. There are Daily Wire YouTube videos that now, after a few days online, have less than 10,000 views, a catastrophically small number for a channel with more than 3 million subscribers. The top comments all mock the low view counts. So, you have to, I'll read one more graphic just to kind of hone in on how bad things are over at the Daily Wire. So the cuts arrive as third-party analytics data point to a sharp erosion in Ben Shapiro's digital reach, with his YouTube channel shedding an estimated 85% of its monthly viewership from a late 2023 peak. Now, Barkan gets into the various reasons why the Daily Wire's viewership has declined so significantly. But one of the main reasons is that the conservative Republican ideology that Ben Shapiro, represents is no longer in vogue with young conservatives, right? Young conservatives are a little more privy to the reality of Israel wanting to use our soldiers as cannon fodder. They want to drive this country deeper and deeper into debt so we can fund their war, so they can expand their empire, and they're just not buying it. They're not into it. So here's Ben Shapiro attacking the very conservative commentators and individuals who are kind of in the know about where the hearts and minds of young conservatives are at, especially when it comes to our relationship with Israel. Let's go to F1.
Well, according to New York Magazine, the future of conservatism isn't traditional conservatism, like free markets, like equal rights before law, like checks and balances, like traditional virtue. That's done. The future, according to New York Magazine, is Nick Fuentes, confirmed Nazi stan and woman hater, and man who will never be able to get a human woman pregnant through natural means. Or Tucker Carlson, confirmed anti-capitalist and Muslim apologist and victim of demon scratching. Or maybe Candace Owens, the confirmed slanderer of widows and connoisseur of French testicles. Or maybe Megyn Kelly, click whoring Grandma Groiper over there. Well, New York Magazine writes, quote, the collapse of the Daily Wire can be seen as a dire warning for traditional Republicans. There are two realities to Shapiro conservatism in 2026. It retains a significant foothold among Republican elites, and it is being fast rejected by the future grassroots of the party.
That reporting's accurate. I mean, you just look at the divide within the conservative movement between younger conservatives versus older conservatives. And the younger conservatives are a little more knowledgeable about what's actually happening with our alliance with Israel, and they don't like it. They don't want to go to war on behalf of Israel. They don't want this country to go deeper and deeper into debt to pay for Israel's wars. And what is Ben Shapiro other than a propagandist for a foreign nation state, Israel? So yeah, I think that's having a huge impact on your viewership, Ben. I think you know it too, but you're delusional about it.
Yeah, I don't even think he's delusional because of the end of the video. So first, caveats here. Look, I have tremendous sympathy for the folks who were laid off. So they didn't have it coming. It's not their fault. They didn't manage the company. They didn't decide to back Israel's genocide. Ben decided that. You don't know the people working there, and plus, it's a super tough industry. And I have sympathy for his complaints about the algorithms these days because they are wild. And I went and looked at his videos. No, he has a lot of videos that do very, very poorly, but he has a bunch of videos that also do well, right? And so a lot of channels are now experiencing, and I've now seen it on some other left-wing channels, this big yo-yoing. So I get the context of it, and I understand that it's not just the content, that the algorithms are making it go faster and more severe consequences of when you lose subscribers, etc. So I get all of that, and I feel terrible for the people who were laid off. Now, having said that, is there a phenomenon where his audience is actively rejecting him? There's no question. There's no question about that, and he knows it because at the end of the video, he keeps saying, it's the future of the Republican Party. These Nazis, the Islam lovers, blah 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 blah, anti-Semites, blah, blah. And he basically says it might be. And he never goes back to, or it might be us. Because I think he realizes he's lost, right? And so all these over the top insults isn't helping either. Millions of people watch Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, etc. And what was the big break between him and Megyn Kelly? He demanded that she condemn everyone who has criticized Israel.
Candace Owens specifically,
And Tucker Carlson, right? And he lectured her and he said, you better do as I tell you.
At her own event, by the way.
Yeah, and you better condemn anyone who criticizes Israel. So now, because she wouldn't condemn other people criticizing Israel, she's a click whoring grandma groiper.
Disgusting.
That's what you could rewind and watch him say that. You know the hardest part of starting TYT? It wasn't being on camera because I'm pretty, let's be honest. Or trying to figure out this new thing called YouTube. Yeah, sure, that was hard. But one of the hardest things, believe it or not, was launching our merch store, Shop TYT. I didn't know the first thing about starting an online clothing store. But thankfully, I had the best business partner to help me out. That's Shopify. You need a beautiful online store? Shopify's got hundreds of ready-to-use templates that match your brand style. You need to find customers? They make it super easy to run email and social media campaigns wherever people are scrolling online. And what about managing inventory, processing returns, and international shipping? Shopify is your commerce expert. They handle the world-class logistics so you don't have to. Everything from payments to analytics is in one place. No more jumping between platforms. It simplifies your life so you can focus on what you actually started the business to do. Start your business today with the industry's best business partner, Shopify, and start hearing. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/TYT. Go to shopify.com/TYT. That's shopify.com/TYT. So, oh, haha, I'm taking a shot at her age. Groiper means I'm calling you a Nazi and I'm calling you a whore because you wouldn't bow your head to Israel. Gee, I wonder why you're losing your audience, Ben.
I gotta say, calling women whores seems to be a favorite among Zionists, and I'm not kidding. Like they love to call you a whore, a slut. I mean, she's a married woman. Like, why would you call her that? Like, what indication do you have that she is that? She's not at all. But on top of that, of course, grandma, right? Taking jabs at her age. I hope to God I look as good as she does when I'm her age, okay? But look, there's no bottom when it comes to attacking someone who has crossed the precious foreign country of Israel. Anyway, let's go to the next video where Shapiro decides to defend the Daily Wire by citing the Trump administration.
According to PodTrack, our podcast reach is 41 million people per month. We're ranked 6th globally. We have a total of 11 shows. Paramount, to take an example from that same chart, is ranked 4th globally. They have 145 shows. So on a per capita basis, we're killing it. We are responsible for the 2 most successful conservative documentaries in history, Matt Walsh's Am I Racist and What is a Woman? Just this week, Vice President Vance was quoting our reporting in his fraud investigations, and our White House correspondent, Mary Margaret Olahan, is in the press room asking questions.
So you're being rewarded by the administration that you are celebrating because they're doing exactly what you want with Israel and Iran. Why, like no one's surprised by that. Yes, we get it. Now say something against the administration and see how fast your White House reporter is rejected when it comes to credentials.
Yeah, but Anna, so that's where it's really interesting. So his YouTube numbers have plummeted. He used to be #1 on Facebook all the time. He was great friends with Mark Zuckerberg. They would go and have dinner all the time. So people didn't know if Facebook was putting a thumb on the scale. A lot of people suspected that. It's pro-Israel content and he's really great friends with the owner of the platform, etc. But whatever happened in the past is not happening today. So whether it's organic or not, his Facebook presence is obliterated. He's sinking in the podcasting, but still holding strong, as he is said there, but still going down. Now, but the context is super important, guys. He raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and then he blew it.
Yep.
And now they're looking for new money. And that is why he brags about, JD Vance and Donald Trump still listen to us, because the people who give him money don't care if he makes a profit. They don't really care about anything but getting Israel's agenda to be America's agenda. So what he's signaling his investors there is, no, we're still good value. It doesn't matter that the American voters aren't listening to us anymore. We still have the government captured, and we're pumping it straight into the vice president and the presidency here. So still give me money, even though no one else is watching.
So Cenk, earlier you made a really good point about the YouTube algorithm and the yo-yoing numbers, and you're absolutely right about that. I've noticed the same thing. But I think what makes the Daily Wire different from other operations is other operations are usually very small. They don't have the bells and whistles. Usually it's 1 or 2 content creators who don't have much overhead. But in the case of the Daily Wire, we learned through Ross Barkan's reporting in New York Magazine that perhaps the most financially devastating hit to the company was the world of film, where despite a moderately successful return on a Matt Walsh documentary, they would go on to spend $3 million per episode on a fantasy series. So they got a tremendous amount of money, which they then squandered on nonsense. So they couldn't withstand the algorithmic changes, in addition to the loss in popularity because of Ben Shapiro's admiration and devotion to Israel, first and foremost. I'm gonna go to one more video. So in this one, he talks, well, I'm not gonna give too much away. Let's take a look.
I'm betting that there are way more people in America who believe in truth and virtue and freedom than people who revel in grievance and demoralization and stupidity. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we lose. But here's the thing. That also doesn't change a thing. It doesn't change a thing. It doesn't matter. Because the only thing that matters is the only thing that has ever mattered to me. Speaking the truth, whether people like it or whether they don't. Because facts still don't care about your feelings. This is the Ben Shapiro Show.
Bold claim, considering the fact that he allows his feelings to get in the way when it comes to foreign policy related to Israel all the time. Final word from you, Cenk.
Yeah, so 3 million per video. Which rocket scientist thought that you could make up 3 million in revenue for a YouTube video? Do you know how bad you have to be at this business to think that that was gonna work? And then they were trying to compete with Netflix on kids programming. With how many billions of dollars are you going to do that? My guess as to why they tried that was like, we'll show Miss Rachel. We'll do pro-genocide kids content.
They'll love it.
And they'll love it. Turns out they didn't love it, okay? True. And lastly, he said, you guys are, all these other people are betraying traditional values and traditional conservatism. And that's why he was actually upset, not about Israel, but about traditional conservatism. That's why he went around calling everyone Nazis and groypers and whores.
And demands that we go further in debt to fund a foreign country's war.
Weird.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.